Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. We are back with a Patreon request. Thank you to Juliana for this one. This is Butter by VoicePlay. It's featuring DJ Young. We have seen him a couple of times before on this channel. He has an incredible voice, very high set in general. And for that reason, I think he's very well suited to be the guest for this song, if the song is in any way similar to the original. The original is by BTS, a K-pop group. If you don't know the song, it's probably worth checking out my video on them that I did fairly recently. As usual, I talk about the musical intricacies of it, which should be helpful when it comes to this being a cover of that song, but it's VoicePlay, and who knows what they're going to do with it. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Smooth like butter, like a criminal undercover. Gon' pop like trouble, breaking into your heart like that. Whoop. Cool shade stunner, yeah, owe it all to my mother. Hot like summer, yeah, making you sweat like that. Oh, when I look in the mirror, I'll melt your heart in a two. I got that superstar glow, so ooh. Sidestep right left to my beat.
Yeah, we can see why they've picked DJ for this. Smooth. I was going to say smooth without any consideration of the lyrics. Smooth like butter, but yeah, very smooth, isn't it? I have been told that this was released around the same time that Caesar joined the group officially. They did release a welcome Caesar video. What's it called? Announcing Caesar de la Rosa to mark the occasion. It's just a short one, so we will be watching that after this reaction.
My name is Caesar, and I'm a social media guru for older gentlemen.
He'll keep you informed and up to date about all of...
Just like with my other videos, if you want to see that as well, you can find that below in the pinned comment, and that will be on my Patreon.
Pull you in like no other, don't need to remind me you got it bad.
Ain't no other that can skip you.
There's a lot going on in the background as well, so this is definitely one of those videos I think you have to see more than once. So yes, I am going to be missing stuff that's going on in the background. If you've seen my videos before, you know I'm very much focusing on the music. I try and focus on everything, but I'm only human at the end of the day.
You like a rumble, straight up, I got you, making you like that. Oh, when I look in the mirror, I'll melt your heart in it too. I got the superstar glow, so
I was literally going to pause at the end of that phrase and say, notice how the harmonies are becoming ever so slightly more complex and slightly different to the original song. They're performing in the same key. I'll go over all that at the end in the analysis. And typically, just as I pause, they've suddenly gone crazy with the harmony. That bit is a bit absurd. I also just want to pause to relax my brain a little bit. I'll probably get an aneurysm in my eye or something, if that's even possible, just because I'm trying to watch what's going on in the background and then whoever's at the front. I am failing miserably, but I am trying. It's the taking part that counts, right? It must have been very fun to film. I wonder if they had choreography per se, or if they just said, if you're in the background, just do whatever you want. Right now, it seems Lane is, I don't know, taking a selfie and Jeff is texting or playing a game or maybe watching a Sir Hairless reaction. I didn't mention, but this one is from 2021, 4 years old. Sir Hairless was not yet around then.
Sidestep right left to my beat. Ooh, I like the moon rock with me show you, cause talk is cheap.
Sidestep right left to my beat.
Let it roll. Step right left to my beat. I like the roll from me, baby. Let me show you, cause talk is cheap. Step right left to my get it, let it roll.
Well, that was smooth. That arrangement definitely... did it grow on me as it went on? It was a very consistent arrangement, and consistent in its traditional sense is not a word I use with VoicePlay much because their arrangements are, you know, they're weird, they're wonderful, they're crazy, they're creative. And with all of those things, I feel comes a complete restructuring of a lot of the songs. We will have new sections that VoicePlay have written specifically, or they'll just change things up a bit. We've done a lot of VoicePlay videos on this channel. Trying to think of specific examples is always hard when you have so many examples to think of. This one didn't really have too many structural changes. It was very consistent, very in line with the original song, and the original song is just that, smooth, like butter, I guess. Once it's going, you kind of keep going and you get into the groove of it. It's one of those songs, I think, where you do kind of just need to keep going. So in that regard, VoicePlay have stayed quite true to the original song in its overall sentiment, I feel. DJ Young, bringing him in for it, I mean, he was fantastic, wasn't he? I don't think I'm really going to be speaking too much on him here. Sometimes fewer words, well, probably most of the time with my videos, actually just saying less is better. But when it comes to his voice, I definitely will say less. Let's just listen to some more of it. Consistently high in his head voice. Really high, by the way. He just makes it seem so effortless. He has such a lovely, lovely higher tone.
When the bass low, get on the behind us when we say so. Sidestep.
He goes up to here, which is a G sharp. That's just one note below a top A, which is the highest note your typical chorister might be expected to sing. So very high. That top note there, G sharp, that is the key of the song. The same key as the original song. And back to DJ quickly, another thing that is common throughout, he works really well with Caesar and Ellie, especially because Ellie, you know, with his voice also can easily go very high, a slightly different timbre. But after DJ does this really high run, let's listen to how seamlessly Ellie takes over with the higher part as DJ moves down.
Sidestep right left to my beat.
That's Ellie up there.
Left to my beat. Ooh. Sidestep right left to my
Could be Caesar, but I'm pretty sure it's Ellie. What else do we have? So we have Jeff on the bass.
right left to my beat.
And then one of the middle parts.
Sidestep right left to my beat.
Yeah, and then Lane singing as well. Well, interesting. Point is, it's difficult really to pick apart the harmony in that moment, which is a good thing. It shows how tight the sound is. It's a moment of homophony without all of the beatboxing and everything else in there. The next phrase.
Ooh, I like the moon right with.
Interesting choice of dissonance on moon. High like the moon, so everyone has kind of moved up a little bit. Again, especially DJ going very, very high. But then see if you can hear that dissonant bogey note on moon.
I like the moon.
In there amongst and DJ's melody, creating a very interesting temporary harsh clash there at the end of the phrase. But that's what VoicePlay do. They do things that are not standard, that make you go, ooh, even if it's super quick, and then they go back to harmonic standardness, shall we say. As we said before, things start much more harmonically straightforward and kind of progress as we go on. So let's go back to the beginning. I don't think I'll have too much to say from the start. Things really get interesting a little bit into the arrangement, but I will rewatch this in my own time and really focus on what's going on in the video in the background. Okay, I'm gonna fail straight away. Let's go from the beginning.
Smooth like butter.
So the opening of this song, just like I said in my video on the original, is important. It does many things. It sets the tone. It tells us what key we're in. As mentioned before, we're in G sharp. The original, well, let's listen to it. It starts with this beat. I can't play too much because BTS are very, very strict with copyright. So to be safe, I'm not going to show more than a few seconds of a clip.
Smooth like butter.
You've got just the melody coming in, and then a bit later on,
Cool shade stunner. Yeah.
you can hear in the bass that root note G sharp down the octave. VoicePlay are twisting it around. They come in with the bass part, but it's been flipped, inverted up into the top. So now the melody is at the bottom. The higher part is there with DJ singing it because he naturally is up there.
Smooth Smooth like butter, like a criminal undercover.
And in terms of percussion, they're not going for a beatbox, they're just going for some nice groovy clicks. I'll try not to repeat things I said in my original video. Like I said, if you want to know more about that song, please go and watch that one. But one thing I will repeat is why this opening melody I think is important and interesting, without boring you too much about the theory. In the key of G sharp, it has a scale, so the note's going up. The penultimate note is this one. And that's usually the case, it's just one note below, but you get to the start again. The first note of the melody though, they flattened this. So immediately things are a tiny bit odd in terms of the harmony. Also on this falling melody, let's count how many notes there are in between each note. So the first one, there's just one note, then two, and then three. So the intervals are getting progressively bigger as it falls down. Just as we're getting used to this, it then follows in sequence and goes 4 notes down, back to the root note, G sharp, but then jumps up again to that strange one up there, and then repeats. VoicePlay haven't changed anything here other than that inversion and the percussion that we hear.
Smooth like butter, like a criminal undercover. Gon' pop like trouble, breaking into your heart like that.
Jeff is grooving in the background ever so well. All right, let's move forward a little bit. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. Next bit, things are now fully in the groove, very, very smooth. VoicePlay doing what they love to do, where they will repeat parts of the melody in the backing part. Following on from the homophony just before that, where they're all singing the same words at the same time in the same rhythms. Having homophony into this then repetition of the words in between lines is, I'd say, a safe bet in pretty much every VoicePlay performance, at least from the ones I've seen. I didn't notice the first time round, but I just listened to the next phrase, again, high like the moon. Earlier, I said that there was this really dissonant note there, and they've done the same thing here, not quite as dissonant or noticeable, but definitely still there. Did you catch that? And it's because of the melody line falling there and then the line underneath it, which creates this dissonance at the end. Let me show you by playing them together. And that last note there, again, dissonance on moon. Here in the original song, straight back into smooth like butter. VoicePlay, no, they need to change the structure a little bit, make sure that we cannot expect what's coming. So they just repeat this phrase, roll, roll, roll.
Smooth like butter.
And then Jeff with a rhythmic displacement here with everyone else on smooth like butter, the most important line in the song, really. I also got caught out at another point. I was mouthing along and I thought I'd mouth along to this bit. And I got done. I got did by VoicePlay's changing of the rhythms. Oh, they did me dirty. I'll melt your heart in a two. I got that superstar. We get Jeff's solo moment and then back to Caesar. And this is the first sign that they're going to start changing things up a bit. And really, again, it's down to the rhythms. VoicePlay, the master of rhythms as they call them. Harmony, though, is still relatively as per the original song. Nothing too crazy. The occasional dissonance. When the harmony starts to get a bit crazy, at least for a little while, is... Really, what's going on there? I won't dig into every chord note by note, but it's building tension, essentially, through the idea that when you get a slightly strange chord or unexpected chord, depending on how it's formed. Well, let's look at the first chord, for example. So it's this bit, let it roll. Let it roll. just before then going back into smooth like butter. On Let It Roll at the top note is this, and it's part of the root chord G sharp major. VoicePlay do that without this top note in some nice 3-part harmony. But they've immediately changed it and added in that weird first note of the melody. As I mentioned, in the scale we'd expect it to be here, but no, it's down here. Now we can immediately see this is some strange chord. So we're thinking this strange kind of dissonance has to resolve. So what's going to happen? And every time the chord changes and moves down, it's, again, slightly strange. I'm not using strange in a negative way, by the way. I really like these funky chords. Let's call them funky chords. But then the next one is also funky, and there is no real resolution at the end. Until they start the next phrase. So yeah, that's a really, really interesting bit, particularly in terms of the harmony. Right, I've been told that Lane and his carrots is a thing. Since when? This is 4 years ago. This freeze frame is rather unfortunate. DJ could not look less interested in in Lane and his carrots. He's even got a backup carrot in his hand here, just in case this one doesn't do the job. DJ regrets his life choices at this point. And then with the remainder of the arrangement, well, I already touched on a segment of it before we went back to the beginning. Things grow a little bit. They become a bit Moorish. Overall though, especially as regards harmony, things do remain as per the original song. Yeah, this is one that I definitely will just need to watch again, really focusing on the video. It feels weird saying this is like a fun video because all of VoicePlay's videos are, well, worth watching and really, really interesting. A lot of time and effort goes into them. This one's different though because a lot of the entertainment is happening in the background, I feel. But just before I go and do that and make sure I don't miss anything, we're now going to go and watch the announcing Cesar de la Rosa video. So again, if you want to watch that with us, head on over to the link in the pinned comment. And if not, well, thank you as always for watching. Would really appreciate a like, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Yes, so Hairless here. We are back with VoicePlay and DJ Young. This is their cover of In My Room by the Beach Boys. I absolutely love the Beach Boys. I've done a song on this video actually. So as usual, if you're interested in some musical exploration of this magical song, then feel free to check out my video. I would definitely recommend it. I talk about the peculiar harmony, the rhythms, all of that sort of stuff. Great band, great song choice, and certainly one I can see VoicePlay doing. I would expect it to be a bit more calm than a lot of their more energetic or theatrical covers. Their video here is from February 2023. I think let's just hop straight on in. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. I want to hear that. It's right at the start, so when I click back, it's a bit annoying. So it's like a slap, swipe, swipe thing. I'll continue after this. I think they were doing different things.
There's a world where I can go to tell my secrets to. In my room, in my room, in my room, in my room, in my room. In this world I locked out all my worries and my fears.
In my room,
In my room, in my room, in my room, oh, in my room. Do my dreaming and my sleeping, lie awake and pray. Do my crying and my sighing, laugh at yesterday.
it's tough.
All right. I wanted to pause a bit earlier on, but the flow was just too smooth. We've played on, and now I'm in that precarious situation of having more content to go over and discuss. Yeah, we'll do our first pause here. They've obviously changed the original song quite a bit. They've also not changed it in many ways as well. It definitely has the same feel, just a lot more energy and power coming through in that second half especially. I mean, look, if you have DJ Young, first thing that ties into this, the key, the original song is in B major, but they're singing one note up, C major, so a little bit higher. The vast majority of the covers they do are in the same key as the original song, so there's been a conscious decision to do this one higher. I completely understand if you have DJ. If anything, no, I was going to say I would have expected it to be even higher. The original song isn't low by any means. Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, you know, they had incredible ranges. That's Ellie, obviously, not DJ, but absolutely love that. And we've got someone really belting out at the top there. I will have to assume DJ. Up there.
My crying and my sighing.
Yeah, his voice is mental. Really just mental. I've spoken about him and his voice previously in other videos, like Butter. Yeah, wow.
My sighing, laugh at yesterday.
Well, let's go to the opening. The rhythms in the original song are really, really important. The song is in compound time. Again, I explain all of this in my video on the original song, so please do check that out. But basically, we have these slow beats that are subdivided into 3 smaller beats, and we can really hear that in every note that's played. The original song, the intro as well, each guitar note of the arpeggio is one of these 3 smaller beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Compound time, and it gives it this very waltzy feel, even though overall we're kind of thinking 1, 2, 1, 2. They are the main beats. So we basically get the best of both worlds. We get the waltzy feel of the 1, 2, 3, very typical of waltzes, and then the slow 1, 2, which is why I think the song is quite magical. Then, of course, you have these constant arpeggios all the way through, the layering of the voices, which makes for a very good VoicePlay cover to do. But VoicePlay choose to completely ignore all of that, at least at the start, and introduce us with some hand percussion, which we don't see often. Just listening to that, we have absolutely no idea what time signature it is. Have they changed it from compound time to common time, as we've seen them do? Sometimes we know they like to play around and manipulate the rhythms. That's why I have coined the nickname for them, the Masters of Rhythm. So it's just really interesting.
There's a world where...
And now we kind of get this semblance. Yeah, sure, we don't have the arpeggios going up and down. Dum, 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 1, 2, 3. But when the clicks come in, they're carefully chosen on which sub beat, which of those mini beats to come in on.
I can go to tell my secrets to...
Slight harmonic change there, very, very subtle, coming in Jeff.
Secrets.
Dum, dum, dum. Not really a harmonic change, but because he's the bass note, the harmonic foundation, it gives off that impression. Actually, was there one of the inner voices? Yeah, so there is one voice in there just adding a tiny bit of extra dissonance, but extremely subtle. Couple that with the structural shift due to Jeff's line. Already so much growth, harmony, rhythms. I love Lane's little water effects. I'm not even going to attempt it. And it's a very calm song. I'm just going to play another few seconds from the original, not too much for copyright reasons.
I can go and tell my secret.
You know, luscious harmonies. It's just how the Beach Boys were, especially in their earlier days. So VoicePlay really are honoring this, and it's just growing. Everything's growing, changing.
In my room.
Those 2 notes clashing, filling out the rest of the chord. Again, structurally different. And they give us this juicy chord and then just come off completely. Silence.
In my room.
then in with homophony, and then the other parts are layering up. You can probably see that I'm struggling to talk about everything in a sort of structured way. But I think that's what VoicePlay have done with this arrangement. They're giving us all these new ideas coming in right after a completely different idea has been introduced. And what's the effect? Well, we have absolutely no idea what to expect, which I find really interesting because the original song, there's something very lully about it. We listen to it, we feel relaxed, comfortable. VoicePlay have turned it into something surprising in a way, like we don't know what's coming. At least at the start, it still feels very relaxing. I think it's a great arrangement. The introduction of a song can be used to kind of give us some foreshadowing as to what we might expect, or be quite different, and VoicePlay have gone for the latter approach. They finish off the introduction with more juicy harmonies now. These we do not get in the original.
In this world,
And now, between Jeff's part and some of the inner voices, we have this compound time idea, dum, 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 like the guitar arpeggios being consistently replicated.
locked out all my worries and my fears.
And Jeff here, it's an octave jump. He's singing the same note, but instead of just singing the actual same note, chooses to move down the octave. Harmony has not changed at all because it's the same note, but the feeling has, you know, it's the power of these little decisions. When do I keep the note the same? When do I change it? How much difference do I want? Every decision plays a part, and I want to see what other decisions they've made with this one. So let's carry on.
It's done.
I also love how we can hear the crickets in the background for Jeff's entry here.
It's done
Which are in a different key, might I add.
again.
Alone, but I won't be afraid. In my room, 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 do my dreaming and my scheming, lie awake and pray. Do my crying
In my
sighing, laugh at yesterday. Now it's dark.
Oh yeah, there's not, oh actually, no, VoicePlay normally do like 30 seconds at the end, don't they? Yeah, there's not too long left, about 30, 40 seconds of the song, so let's carry on until the end.
Now it's dark and I'm alone, but I won't be afraid. In my room, 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 in my room.
Oh, how nice, with a light in the backdrop, and now we don't hear crickets, we hear birds. Lovely bird song. Something poignant about that silence at the end. I mean, there were moments of silence in the arrangement as well. And as I was listening, I was really thinking this song, because of the lully. When I use the word lully, by the way, I don't know if it's a word or not, but I just think of lulling, like a lullaby almost. And I'm going to go back to the word magical. I do think the original song is magical. That's the purpose. Your room is a place of safety. You go there, solitude, all the issues and worries of the outside world go away, a place of comfort. And as humans, I would imagine most of us find comfort in things we know and that we're familiar with. And that's why the song, the original, is very similar all throughout. And VoicePlay have had the task of not making their version similar throughout, because that would be too boring. They're an acapella group. But you can't completely change up the song and make it crazy. Yeah, I think they've hit the nail on the head there. A very difficult thing to do. And as I was listening, I was imagining the arranging process of, okay, we're going to spend this long or this many bars in this type of sound. For example, having staccato do's as the accompaniment versus more chordal moments. The arrangement is by Lane and Rob Dietz.
It's dark and
I'm alone, but I won't.
Harmonic change. This is different harmony on that I chord. So when you suddenly have a new chord, your ears and your brain suddenly perk up. It's very engaging. And in the split second, because our brains work very quickly, I'm thinking, oh, what's going to happen? Are they changing key? Are they modulating? Is it just one or two different chords?
I won't be afraid.
And essentially what they've done is we're now back to the original harmonic pattern or structure, but they've basically turned this into a cadential sequence. Cadential, a chord sequence that comes at the end of a song, such as...
I won't be afraid.
Which is basically what we get here, but slightly funked up. Again, we can hear this one note in there. So here's our chord. That's note number 1, C. And the note that we're hearing. Note number 2, the supertonic. We know VoicePlay love it. I always point it out when we hear it. Just creates a juicy chord. We get it later on as well. Well, we get it a few times, but there was one moment later on where it's very obvious. Here's an example. So again, our chord, the same, and then DJ again on that second note in there. Guised slightly differently now because he's doing his theatrical R&B type runs, as I will call them. And obviously Jeff is much lower down and the chord structure is a bit different. And it's these same similar ideas that are just changing up the song, adding their VoicePlay stamp onto it a little bit, that they are using more than one time, but differently within their own arrangement. Keeps this sense of originality, of uniqueness, whilst also there is an element of familiarity, I feel, that we get as the listener, as I think this song should have.
In my room,
There, in my room, in. We can feel a bit of an accent on that note, right? And again, I won't go into too much detail here because I explain it in more detail in my video on the original song. But the long and short of it is we'd typically expect this chord progression where you go from chord 1 to chord 7. So it would sound like this. But in this song, in the original, they flatten that 7th note. So creates much more of a lully movement in parallel motion. VoicePlay, of course, are well aware of this, and they choose to exaggerate that moment. Lovely chromatic inflection there for, again, slight harmonic change, back to regular, and now we have the structural rhythmic change. Quite 60s or 50s in style even, musically. And then moving forward a little bit, there was another suspension. Of course, VoicePlay are getting the suspensions in there. But also, of course, things are not quite as they seem. Slight change. So what they've done is they have given a suspension, started it, not gone through with it, and also not changed chord. We're basically expecting it because that's just how the song goes. DJ instead has one of these runs, so our attention is now put on him. Then we get a silence, it's gone dark, and now so much power is in his hands to open up with this next verse.
it's dark
In turn, the hand clicks are more exaggerated. We've basically been reset because the arrangement before this was loud, powerful, and it now, well, yeah, just gives them power to finish how they want. Going back to that suspension moment. So basically, we're expecting to hear. And then, so we get this, the suspended note. It never resolves down, so we're left with this unresolution which causes tension, and they prolong it very purposefully. And that's just one of many, many other things in this arrangement of a lovely song by, in my opinion, one of the best bands of all time, the Beach Boys. VoicePlays and the Beach Boys together, there's only going to be one outcome, I think. Let me know your thoughts on this one if you like what they did with this classic song. If you made it this far, thank you very, very much for watching all the way through. If you want to help out the algorithm, please give the video a like, leave a comment as well. You don't have to write any words. Let's go for a surfboard emoji like you see on the screen now in honor of the Beach Boys. Would be very much appreciated. Be sure to check out my video on the original if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.